So this is Tokyo Bay right now. About 3 hours ago, we had a massive earthquake happen up in northeast of Hokkaido in Russia. A lot of you probably seen this on the news. It hit prime time in the United States, in the morning time here in Japan. So I got tons of messages. I want to say to everybody that I'm okay. We really didn't feel much of anything here in Tokyo. Here's a chart of where the earthquake took place in Russia. It wasn't in the Sea of Okhotsk, and you can see quite a ways away, but it was a magnitude 8.7. We haven't seen the likes of something like this since 2011, 14 years ago in Fukushima, and now we are starting to, well, it makes us quite concerned here in Tokyo, let's just say, in all of Japan. We had about a magnitude 2 in northeast Hokkaido, that's Nemuro on that side, and then we had maybe a 1, or we didn't feel anything in Tokyo. I didn't know about it until I turned on the TV, but I didn't know about it until I started getting messages from a lot of you that were quite concerned. On the top part of this here, you can see this is the tsunami warnings that were issued at 9:40 a.m. about 2 hours ago. We did see about 30 minutes ago, waves coming into North Hokkaido, tsunami waves. A helicopter was out there. I think I have some footage from that. This was about 20 minutes ago. And you can see the helicopter was patrolling the northeast side of Hokkaido, and you can see there was some waves coming in here. And it's not the same thing as what we had on March 11, 2011, so it's nothing to be worried about. But it's certainly something to be concerned about here. These waves do take some time, so there could be something that comes into Tokyo, but I'm on Tokyo Bay here. I'll show you exactly my location. Don't worry, it's quite inland, and I'll explain why this is quite a place that's safe from tsunami. But I'm doing this live stream more from, it is quite spooky, Pac Northwest. I know because the tsunami warnings were going on in Hawaii, in the northeast section of Canada, and the Great Northwest in America. So that's the Washington, Oregon, California. And when you get these flashes and these warnings, or watches, I guess you could say, it's something that you really pay attention to. This was about 30 minutes ago up in Hokkaido. So we did get some tsunami, but it was something that they could handle because Japan is quite well prepared for it. I want to show you on the map real quickly that this is NHK World about 3 hours ago issued these tsunami warnings. So this is what it looks like on the Japanese TV. They'll list the locations in Japanese. NHK World does it in with English for a lot of you. You might want to have this app downloaded and installed so that you would have access to this if you have Wi-Fi. If you are traveling inside Japan, it's a good app to have. NHK World. They got some decent programs that used to be on the channel, but in general, I think YouTube has much better content about Japan. Although I'm glad that NHK World is here. But 3 meters were expected. They got about 30 centimeters. It's hard to predict this kind of thing. This is where it took place. From the news that we have here, and you can see Japan on this map. That's northern Hokkaido on the bottom left side, and the earthquake took place in Russia. Not a very populated area. There is some video coming in from here. It does not look really great, but it never does, because I've lived through many earthquakes, done a couple from this spot here. Let me show you exactly. This is roughly the area where it took place here in Russia. You can see Japan on the left side. So it looks close on some of the maps, but it's actually quite far away. But the waves, tsunami waves, it's a different beast here. So although we didn't feel the earthquake, we definitely could feel massive tsunami waves. The Boxing Day earthquake that took place off of Indonesia that really stole a lot of lives in Thailand and in Phuket and other areas around the world, reached all the way to India and Chile, I believe. So, you know, tsunamis can be something that you really need to be concerned about. Here's where I am on this bridge here. So, I mean, some of you might be writing in here, get off that bridge, there's a warning going on here, but I'm actually about 10 meters off of the water. I'm quite high up there. And if you look at Tokyo Bay, it would take a lot for the tsunami to get in from the Pacific through the Miura Peninsula, around there and into the bay. We would get a lot of information and see this coming, and I'm kind of inside the city there, so it's not exactly, you can see I'm on the blue dot. It would take a lot to get to me, but again, when a lot of water moves, you can't. I'm gonna zoom in on this, and you can see the trough. That's the ring of fire, okay? So there's no surprises that the tectonic plate is right there where the earthquake took place. And you can see that tectonic plate extends down into Japan. And this is why with the prophecy and all of these things, it's something concerning. That black line is a trough underneath the Pacific Ocean. It goes along the east coast of Hokkaido, and there's where the Fukushima earthquake took place, on that trough there. And it extends to Tokyo, which has a very complicated plate. Hold on a second, I think I've zoomed in a little bit. There you go, normal John. It's a very complicated plate. It's not the greatest area to build a major metropolitan city, Tokyo, but you know, it is a safe place to live. This is the Olympic Village right here. You can see Tokyo Bay spreading beyond the Rainbow Bridge over there. And this is the Toyosu Market, all brand new buildings, all really well positioned to take a magnitude 9 or greater earthquake. All the buildings here are brand new, although the land is brand new. This was all built during the 2021 Summer Olympics, which seems an eternity ago. And all of these apartment complexes are ready for massive, they're all brand new for an earthquake. Japan is, if there's a place to be when a megaquake were to hit, Japan would be one of the safest, although probably somewhere like far, far away, like in New York, might be safer. Of course, I laugh uneasy because I've been through them before, but it's not exactly a wonderful thing. Earthquakes is just part of our living here in Japan. You know, I went through this era here. This is what the tsunami, this is what we all think about when we hear the word tsunami. We think about, are you near the tsunami area, Ace? No, there's nothing going on here. This is what went on March 11, 2011. You can see it broke through, just the waves were like 10 meters high in some areas along the coast, quite close to the epicenter, the hypocenter. I guess you'd call it the epicenter of the earthquake. The 2011 Great East Japan earthquake, or the Tohoku earthquake, that's got a lot of names, that it did so much damage because of the proximity to land, the strength of it, and the fact that a lot of these coastal cities were not prepared for something so massive. The infrastructure is very costly to build, but look at the devastation. This is up, I think this was in Iwate. Gosh, I can't remember now, it's been so long ago. But you could see the wave coming in, and it just kept pushing in. The water is just so dense, knocks over buildings. When it pushes in, it's not like that massive tsunami wave in that Hollywood movie Deep Impact, you remember? It just comes in. It's not something that you can look up into the sky and see a mega wave. Maybe if a meteor or an asteroid hit, you get something like that. But a tsunami is just a movement of water that pushes in and in and in, and it's a devastating thing to see. We didn't get anything like that again. About 30 minutes ago, we had a wave come into Hokkaido, northern Hokkaido. It was registered, initial report 30 minutes. I've been on my bicycle to ride out here for about 20 minutes, but nothing like this, which is what happened. It's more like a surge. Right, Pack at Northwest writes in here, this is a live stream. This is old footage from 2011. I think a lot of you know that. This is, when you hear the word tsunami, you start to really see the images from 2004. I believe it was the Boxing Day tsunami, and then the 2011 Tohoku tsunami, which hit Iwate, Fukushima, Miyagi, parts of Aomori, and even Hokkaido. Devastated the Tohoku area. It was just an awful, awful thing that happened here in Japan 14 years ago. So this kind of stuff, this is what happens in a tsunami. This is why you need to get to higher ground. You're not going to see a mega wave coming, but you're not going to see the surge coming. And when the surge comes, it's water is so dense, it will push you down and then suck you back into the Pacific Ocean. This is what it did in 2011, and it scares, to see that, the images, it really scares me. I have a lot of issues as a result of it. This also comes on the heels of the prediction that's now, we're almost getting into August now, so the prediction month is over. But look, these things are geological. Again, I'll say it, Earth moves at a different pace as humans. We're like a speck in time, according to the way that the billions of years old that Earth is. The movements happen. You can't predict them. Tsunamis are different. We can give warnings and updates, because if it happens out of the Pacific, it takes time for it to get here. But if an earthquake were to happen, and this is the second side of this live stream here. If an earthquake were to happen like it did in 1923, which was 102 years ago, we had the Great Kanto earthquake, which devastated the city of Tokyo. It wasn't the earthquake, and this is something that you all really need to keep in mind. When the earthquake happened out in Tokyo Bay, it wasn't the earthquake that destroyed the city as so much. Of course, buildings did collapse, and there was a lot of issues as a result of that massive shaking. But what really destroyed the city were fires that happened afterwards, because Tokyo back then was made of wood. And the fires, especially when the earthquake in 1923 happened around lunchtime, a lot of fires were going on in kitchens to cook lunch. And the result was that the city was completely burnt down in most of the areas. Asakusa, the area that's a cultural heart of Japan, of Tokyo, was very much, well, there's a massive fire that went through there. The fire claimed more lives than the actual earthquake, the shaking did, but it was a result of the earthquake, so that's why there's a lot of issues that are associated with the earthquake, like tsunami and fire. So when an earthquake does happen, Tokyo now has been modernized very much. You can see the buildings are now made to sway with the earthquake. A lot of the older buildings built post-World War II in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s have been knocked down and made way to newer buildings in the 90s, 2000s, and this decade. And more recently, the amount of construction going on in 2020s for the Olympics, which was an amazing excuse. If the 2020 Olympics were a success, it was because it got a chance to rebuild Tokyo, knock down old stuff and get it built up for new stuff, and prepare for the megaquake that many people do predict. I know the word megaquake is scary as hell. I don't like the sound of that. But I think that fear that you get when you hear it and you see those images that happened 14 years ago in Japan is good, because it gets you prepared for when it does take place, which you can't predict. So you're always kind of, as a resident of Tokyo for now 20 years, a resident of Japan for 25, I am mentally as prepared as I probably can be for a mega quake. I've got a helmet, I've got an escape bag by the entrance of the apartment. You're not gonna get any notice. The people in the Kobe earthquake of 1996 happened in the middle of the night. This is why earthquakes are so tragic. You don't know when it's gonna happen. It happened in the middle of the night. I think it was like 4 in the morning, like the dead of night where nothing is going on. You had zero warning. We didn't have any smartphones at the time. There was no warning system. There's nothing people could do. You were just sleeping in your bed. It was one of the earthquakes that were going like this, up and down, up and down. And it devastated the city of Kobe. But it was the fires afterwards that really did the most damage. It collapsed, the highway, I believe, collapsed. The port area of Kobe still has some areas that have been preserved, so you can remember that day. A lot of lives, I think it was over 5,000 lives were lost. So if a megaquake did happen in Tokyo, you know, the city is doing everything it can. Every single day, more progress is being made to make the city safer for if something like that were to happen. So if it did, despite the fact that we give it the word megaquake, we would be, I believe, quite safe in the city of Tokyo. You just don't know, because we can't predict anything like this. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. Randania, just dropping in to say aloha, stay safe, I'm safe at work, and to help people get supplies back to work. Thank you, Brandani. It's always lovely to see you. Leo and Brandani have been communicating. Leo's niece has painted his nails, and Brandania has maybe the most lovely nails. Leo's jealous. So this is roughly where the earthquake took place, and you can see the trough under that goes around the ring of fire. This is all kind of connected, these tectonic plates. We had a big earthquake, thousands of earthquakes that happened in an island on the southwest of Japan. I don't have it queued up here, but residents of that island were evacuated. So we've now had an earthquake on the northeast of Japan and on the southwest of Japan that were quite large. And this is where I am once again on the bridge connecting at Kachidoki with Toyosu Fish Market, which is the new Tsukiji market. I'm quite safe. I think it's like more like 10 meters or more above ground. But it would take, again, a lot for the tsunami to come in here. So we don't particularly have much of a warning inside of the bay. But if an earthquake were to take place inside of Tokyo Bay, completely different issue. It would take a lot for waves to get into the bay, but it's a surge of water. The surge is going to go all over. And that's what really worries me the most with regards. You can see the banks of the river here are built up about through 5 meters high. So the surge would have to be quite significant to get over that. Like a monster earthquake it would take to get over that. We had waves of up to 10 meters, if I remember correctly, in the Tohoku earthquake in some areas. The surge just went through into the bays and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's really hard. There's the Rainbow Bridge. I believe that's about 25 meters up or so, maybe more than that. Large ships can get underneath that Rainbow Bridge over there. It's not quite as big. We crossed over the Verrazzano Bridge in New York to get to JFK last week. The Verrazzano is much bigger than the Rainbow Bridge, although it looks quite large. We live 6 feet above the beach. That's smart. T's here. You're very welcome. I'm glad that you're here, as well as Aussie Turtle Gaming. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Are there any questions with regards? Gojira's here. It's actually quite nice today. We've got a very good breeze. I got a haircut, cut to the bone, to the scalp here, so I'm gonna do okay in summer. Neil Strongarm's here. For the love of God, wear the helmet. I saw 0 helmets worn on bicycles here. It's just not a thing. But you're right. I'm not gonna argue with you. Now I can afford one. I appreciate it. Any questions before we sound off here? We'll be watching Tokyo Bay for a little bit longer. The weather and the temperature, I would say there's a very good breeze, but it's still really hot. We got partly cloudy, mostly sunny. Clouds are moving fast up there. I'm not sweaty, which means the humidity is not as high today. Maybe the breeze is keeping it down, but it's got to be maybe about 87 degrees Fahrenheit for those in the US, maybe about 30, 33, 34 degrees Celsius perhaps. I'm spitballing it here. Maybe a Nightbot can give us some help with the weather. But it's a little bit cooler because I'm up at elevation. We got a nice breeze going through Tokyo Bay. What's your go-to news channel in Japan? Looking outside my window. Looking outside my window. I don't know, I probably watch NHK, but I'm on TBS every now and then, Hiruobi, which is a news program, so I watch them more than most because I know the people there. But NHK World does a pretty good job, although the news people are pretty personality-less, which is public TV. It's supposed to be like that, I guess. Jesus R. Dev here. Hope you and your family stay safe. Thank you very much. And Chad from the trunk for some floaties. Leo's got some really good floaties with Ampaman on there. Bela's here. Hey, Bela. How you doing? Once again, I want to answer some of your questions in regards to this, because this is Tokyo Bay. We don't see any activity. It'd be more like 45 minutes ago, the NHK and some of the news networks were broadcasting helicopter footage from East Hokkaido where a surge came in. It was about 30 centimeters, but the levees and the sea barriers were able to handle that okay. There's no issues as far as I know, but I've been out here for about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, so news can change pretty quickly. But it looks like it's very, very calm here in Tokyo. I didn't feel anything. And Bela, I hope you got the postcard from the summit of Mount Fuji. It should have arrived by now. I sent postcards to the summit of Fuji, and it's been pretty cool to see them. So there's the earthquake that happened where the X is at 8:25 a.m. Japan time. And Hokkaido might have felt it with a magnitude 2. Again, we have a different system. We call it Shindo. Shindo, the Japanese system, measures the intensity of the shaking, whereas magnitude measures the power. It's a very different thing. This is magnitude. With the intensity, it was probably like a 1 or a 2, which means we barely feel it. We don't really feel it until an intensity 3, but a magnitude 2, maybe an intensity 1, which is a Shindo 1 or 2. So we wouldn't even feel it in Japan. But the tsunami that does come, we'd be able to see that a lot more, because it's something that builds up depending on the power of the quake. And this is the biggest, most powerful earthquake that we've seen since 2011 in this region of the world. So it was quite large, and it is something that's bringing in a lot of attention and news, and people are concerned about my safety. And I want to say I can't reply to all of you, but doing this live stream is my way to say thank you, and we are fine. And if anything were to happen to us, I of course would not be able to respond to you, but I would get to you as soon as possible, because I know that that's an issue. There's a news crew here now. I guess I'm not the only one that knows that this is a really good spot. There's a news crew here. Maybe looks like they're doing a broadcast as well, following the tsunami and the earthquake. A lot of people in Japan are tuning in. A lot of people in Japan are quite concerned as well. That's my bicycle. Steph writes in here, sorry I hit send before I finished. Hello from our family to yours, Boston, Massachusetts. Keep an eye on everything as we have friends around Japan. We love your channel. Thank you. Much love from our family to your family as well. There's a 2-foot tsunami coming. Is that on the northwest of the U.S.? Again, like depending on the thing with the tsunami and earthquakes, we don't know how the intensity, how the power, how the movement happened under the water. When an earthquake happens underneath the Pacific Ocean, we don't know the direction of the movement, and what direction did the wave go, and what direction was the water pushed. It looks like it looks like when an earthquake happens, they'll show you on TV a circle. Yeah, that's there is a intensity. There's a power going on underneath the ocean. I know this. I had an interview with a seismologist and a volcanist at Todai, Tokyo Daigaku, Tokyo University, about 2.5 years ago, and we discussed this. We don't know in which direction the intensity was directed. Sometimes it can be pushed up, sometimes it can be pushed to the left or the right or east or west. We just don't know. The tsunami could be greater going towards the US than it could be going towards Japan. We don't know. Kaiju inbound. But this is where it took place. We just don't know exactly how the tsunami is going to be. This is why when a warning or a watch comes in, it's a good idea to heed that and to get to higher ground and just kind of follow the news, because you just don't know. And I think you have a watch on the west coast of the U.S. and you have a watch in Hawaii. It's quite far away. Again, it's probably a good idea. People in Hokkaido were getting to higher ground on the east coast of Hokkaido. Helicopter footage from news reports inside of Japan were showing Japanese getting up onto higher ground here. Ian Black's here. To you and your family, stay safe. Thank you, Ian. Eric Thompson and Zubans, thanks for being an insider and for joining the travelers. I appreciate it, guys. Any last questions before we sign off here? We're just kind of doing a watch here on Tokyo Bay. There's a city with the Rainbow Bridge in the background. Nihon ni kyotsukete ne. Oregon Shu. Tsunami. Ah, it went by so fast. So tsunami warning in Oregon Shu, in Oregon. Thank you for that, Zubans. There's a warning in Hawaii. Yeah, so if the waves, let's put it to you like this, I think Hawaii should stay vigilant here. There were aftershocks, but the tsunami wave didn't hit Hokkaido until about 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. So the epicenter of it was quite far. So I would imagine it's going to take a while to get to Hawaii. And then, look, the Boxing Day tsunami traveled quite a distance. I think that was a magnitude 9. This was an 8.7. The intensity was quite large, so there's going to be a tsunami wave. We didn't see anything of significance, maybe 30 centimeters that the east coast of Hokkaido could not handle. So everybody it looks like the worst has been behind us. But aftershocks do occur. It could be another earthquake that happens. You just can't predict it. So we're as prepared as can be in the city of Tokyo for a mega quake, as everyone's been talking about it. Trust me, Tokyo's since before the Olympics, and we're talking like well over a decade now, because Tokyo also was trying to get the 2016 Olympics. They've been preparing and renovating the city of Tokyo. I'm just panning around here. And all the buildings are quite resistant to magnitude 9 and greater earthquake. They're built that way. So there's not, if you did come and an earthquake did happen in Tokyo Bay, you're going to be safe in Tokyo, unless your hotel is El Cheapo and I don't know, built in the 1930s. I don't think they even exist anymore. There's the code and standards for hotels are quite strict, and if you go inland to the countryside, maybe the different prefectures have different codes, but Tokyo is very much on top of that, very strict with it now. The governor, Koike, who's governor, because Tokyo is not a city per se to Japan, it would be a metropolitan area. It's considered one of Japan's 37 prefectures. So Tokyo is actually like a state. And there are 23 wards or cities within Tokyo. This would be, I think this is still Chuo ward, maybe on the border of Chuo and Meito. I don't know, Minato ward is over there. That's one of the more expensive areas to live. Setagaya is more inland. But again, if an earthquake were to happen, it would take at least 5 meters, the walls are up on that side over there, to get over that and into it. I think it's about 5 meters, but they have signs telling you how high you are. So that is also a really good indication. In fact, the tsunami signs are all over, and you can see the news report is doing it from here as well. They're doing, they have tsunami signs telling you the sea level point at which you are standing. So if an earthquake does happen, you know how shallow of an area you are, so you can seek higher ground. And right now I'm about, I don't know, if you were to look off of it, maybe it feels like 8 to 10 meters off of the water. So I'm in a pretty good shape, and I don't think it's, saying that it's 30 centimeters in Hokkaido, we're quite further away. The most surge we would get is maybe a few centimeters, I think. But again, it's very hard to tell. All right, last update here. The earthquake took place here, because we got a lot of people coming in to watch. In Tokyo, this is the epicenter. This is East Hokkaido. It happened at 8:25 a.m., which is about 4 hours ago. The tsunami takes some time to come, so it would be coming around then. This is the warnings that we got on TV about, I don't know, 3 hours ago. With the tsunami warnings, you could see it in red listed, highlighting the coastal regions of Japan. Even the Sea of Japan side in Hokkaido had a watch that was going on, and the watch extends the entire length of the country based on the power of the magnitude of 8.7 It's quite large, and you can see extending all the way to Okinawa, which is those islands in yellow separated. So that's a huge surge of energy pushing water in a direction. It looks like 30 centimeters that maybe more of the power was going towards the U.S. We just can't, we don't know what happened underwater. That's the one thing that the news won't say. We don't know what happened under the water, right? And this was the scene about, I guess about 45 minutes ago now, of the 30 centimeter surge coming into Hokkaido. The helicopter footage that was piped to the world media as well. So a lot of the international media was getting this feed so they could stay in touch and also get the word out to any foreign residents or foreign tourists that are here. I like how Japan has been doing that in multiple languages. We didn't get any alerts on our smartphones about the earthquake or the tsunami, so for everybody it looks like that's about it. If you do have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Leave it in the comments, I appreciate it. If another earthquake happens, I'm here to report about it on this channel. Thanks for subscribing. I've been doing this since I started my channel after the Great East earthquake on 2011, my main channel, because nobody was coming to Japan after it. The media, I don't think they were completely fair with what was happening, and I don't think Japan handled it well either. There was a lot of gray area happening during that time, but it did resulted in 2011, 2012, like almost no tourists were coming here. Residents were leaving. I was one of the residents that stayed. I was doing a lot of work with NHK World at the time, and I decided to start a YouTube channel in 2012, launched it in 2013. Unfortunately, signed a contract and worked with another company, and that was a big mistake. Lost my channel, had to restart in 2020. It's an interesting life story, but it was all built out of the fact that I have a great love for this country, and I just didn't think that NHK World was doing a great job with the programming to attract people in, because there's a lot of layers to the onions to get any proposal or any episode idea in. I said, we can make this so much more fun if we just got rid of the bureaucracy, and I started the channel, and it got to 1,300,000 subscribers, and then I had to start over. And here we are today, on top of a bridge, reporting to you about the coverage here in Tokyo. As helicopters go out now, I guess we're starting to see, it looks like if there was a tsunami coming in or a surge, it would be happening now. Helicopter could be a lot of things, but when you couple that with the fact that there's a news crew broadcasting right now from the spot, and they're panning around, so it looks like, are they gonna pan around to hit me? I could be on the news right now. Yeah, they did, they panned around and looked at me. I waved. I don't know if waving is the best thing to do. I should wipe that smile off my face. I don't know really what the situation is that's happening. I think the world is praying that in Eastern Russia, nobody lost their life. It happened out in the Pacific, but I'm sure if there were any not highly populated areas there, from a country that has earthquakes all the time, we know how scary it is and how the loss of life could occur as a result of it. We don't know. Russia's not the greatest at reporting information to the world media, so it takes a lot more time to get information. But in an earthquake, everybody is innocent here. It's a really hard thing. I don't really care if NHK heard my comment or not. I don't do much work for them anymore, but we have a lot of mutual respect. They do for what I do, and I have for what they do, because they have the resources and I have energy and a camera. And you guys. We'll change here to the main iPhone lens. I don't live on higher ground. We don't live in the greatest area. If an earthquake were to happen, you could see on this side, I think it's about, I don't know. On this side, it looks like it's about 2 meters that you would have, and then water would start to come on, but these buildings are built up even higher, so maybe it's about 4 meters up. So the water would definitely go through here, and we live on this side of Tokyo in Chuo Ward. So we're quite low to the ground. A lot of this is new. This is all newly built land as well. So it's not as solid, right? So again, if an earthquake does happen, there's I forget, liquefaction is a term you'll start to hear. The news will talk about it if a megaquake does happen in Tokyo. Liquefaction is when the earth starts to vibrate like this, especially side to side, and the water starts to loosen the sand, and the sand sinks and the water rises, and buildings that were built on weak land like this start to fall and collapse because of, I believe the term is liquefaction. It's been a while since I did an episode on it, but the shaking of it could release the water that's trapped in the sands, and the sand would sink and the water would rise, and buildings built upon that would collapse. And that's something that scares everybody. I also learned that from those interviews, and they're coming soon. There's an episode on this that's in the works. Yeah, liquefaction. Liquefaction. Thank you. Azure Steel. Liquefaction. I was close. Liquefaction is the word. It's a good word. It's one that if a megaquake were to occur near land, especially in a place where there's a lot of new land, it's something that scares my wife and myself from where we live, and a reason why we might be thinking of moving. But this is liquefaction is an issue, especially when it's earthquakes going side to side and it's moving the sand and releasing the water, and the sand is heavier, it'll sink and it brings the water up and collapses the buildings upon it. I saw it in a simulation that they have at the fire department, and I didn't know about liquefaction, and it scared the crud out of me when I saw it. So, but yeah, it's been an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour since we saw some waves, some tsunami waves in northern Hokkaido. It doesn't look like anything's getting into Tokyo Bay. The wave would have to go this way into Tokyo to get into the city, and the city is in this direction. Skytree is behind this building. That's Toyosu, and Tokyo Tower is just behind this building right here. So you can't see it, but that's city of Tokyo is all on this side, and Tokyo Bay and the Pacific Ocean is in that direction. The ships that leave out to the Tokyo Islands are right there. I don't know if any of them have been canceled. It'd be interesting to find out, but I would often take that hydrofoil once every couple of years to Nijima Island, which is one of the most beautiful hidden places that I shouldn't say to you, because you might get on a boat and go there. That's one place I kind of want to hide. The Tokyo Islands are so precious and so beautiful. Virtually no foreign tourists go out there, but they're all pretty much like Hawaii in a way. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, one last sweep through. Thanks for the questions, everybody. I appreciate it. Tokyo's fine. We didn't feel any quake here 4 hours ago when it came in here. I was kind of on the lookout for any kind of a surge, a tsunami. We're not getting anything in Tokyo Bay. There have been helicopters swirling. That was not the first one. There's a news reporter right near me reporting from this area. I think they want to be where I am. I was here first. But nothing of any significance happening here in the city, other than people having lunchtime, enjoying themselves, getting a little bit of sunshine. The temperature is about 34 degrees. It's probably going to rise a little bit more, but there's a very good breeze today, so you don't feel it. The humidity's down. Pleasant end of July. For those that were worried about the prophecy, you know what? July's almost over. Book your tickets. I'll be here. Hope to see everybody as well. I've been kind of drawing this out because we have more people joining us live from Tokyo, but nothing really to report anymore. If you're still watching, all I can say is I love you guys. And we're all hoping in Japan, as a country that goes through earthquakes all the time, that loss of life and injuries were minimal to zero up in eastern Russia. Hokkaido looks like they were spared. We barely felt it in Japan. We barely felt it. We had magnitude 1 in Tokyo, which is just like a trace. But I mean, right now the bridge is vibrating from cars rolling by. You just wouldn't feel it. If you're on a train, you wouldn't know. Trains and the Shinkansen wouldn't stop for a magnitude 1. I think they wouldn't slow down unless you got to like a magnitude 4, to be honest with you. And usually because it would be stronger somewhere along the Shinkansen line, and they would stop to do a very quick inspection. And then they would, I've been on the Shinkansen trains, the bullet trains when it did occur. They would stop the trains, do a quick inspection, and the trains would go at a slower speed to the next station, stop there, and then there would be a discourse, and usually the Shinkansens would be back up after a very quick investigation. All right, if there's no more questions here, thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. If you're concerned about your travel trip to Japan, leave me a comment. I put the Patreon link there if you want to direct message me with any questions about travel to Japan. I've been doing a lot of helping people with their itinerary, where to go outside of the cities and the Golden Route, what areas that might suit their family. I like to do that with direct messages and maybe a FaceTime call. If you're a Patreon supporter, you have access to direct message me, and we can discuss how to do that. Usually for Postcard Club members, I might give a little bit extra love, but I have a limited amount of time. There's more helicopters going out there, and the likelihood that they're going out there to investigate, to see what the surge is going on around the city is quite high right now, but there's always helicopters going through the city. Take care, everybody. If there's any updates, I'll be back here live to report on them. I've reported when big earthquakes took place in Tokyo, like very quickly afterwards, mostly and you know, a lot of you that are watching are probably family members of someone who is also living in Japan, and I'm mindful of that. And sometimes they don't get back to you, they're working, or they didn't feel the earthquake, but you could be worried. There's a lot of moms and grandmothers and grandfathers that are watching with their children, family members living in Japan, and you watch this show to get information so you can learn more about Japan and know more about where your family members are living. And I'm mindful of that, and I want to say thank you for watching and supporting the channel as a result. Guys, take care. I'll see you soon. Another live stream tomorrow, or if anything happens, I'll be back live. Mata ne. Look like we got the all quiet here, so maybe go grab some lunch and get back to editing. Thank you, Masi. See ya, Bela. See you guys.